What's up, guys? I may have just done a thing and ordered a Tesla Model 3. So I wanted to talk about that. But if this is your first time here, what's good? My name is Sam. And for those of you who are returning, it's good to freaking see you. I appreciate you. All right. So I'm going to go on this path, right, of my story with Tesla and then also the psychology that I'm going into this with. And then I'm going to show you the car I ordered, but it's the Model 3 in gray, basically. But I think the story is actually where the important parts are, because the car is the fucking car. You've seen it 1,000 times, right? If you've paid attention to Tesla. But what I have here is the Wikipedia page for the show Top Gear, which is a British auto show that used to air on the BBC. And this is the first when I saw this episode. I was living somewhere. I was living in New York, and I was living with some roommates that actually had a television because I haven't owned a TV since like 2009. So this episode came on. It was on their television, and we would watch this show together sometimes and like chill or play video games or something like that. So we would have this up, and I saw the Tesla, and I was like, "That's super interesting," and that's what started getting me like, "Huh." I wonder what's happening here, right? And then I ended up looking it up a little bit, and I continued to follow their journey and watch and like read about them for the news and that kind of thing. And then in 2014, on my other YouTube channel, so if you want to check it out, there's a link in the description for my other YouTube channel. But in 2014, I made my first video. And look at that, 2014, March 18th, I released Tesla Motors sales ban in New Jersey, right or wrong? I'm not even going to watch this video because it's probably pretty fucking horrible. But what I will say is that that's how closely I was following them. I was reading every article. I was completely trying to like absorb information around them before it was all over YouTube to understand like what was happening because not everybody was like paying attention to Tesla. Nobody like at that point, not everybody was paying attention. So trying to get information around Tesla was more challenging. You know, you actually had to try to dig into little bits and pieces more because now anything Tesla does is in the fucking news. Like even the most minor, minuscule, like Elon Musk dropped a fucking SD card, right? Like then somebody's like, oh, Elon Musk hates the environment, right? Like the most retarded shit comes out right now. First of all, that should kind of wake something up, right? Because anytime that a company has the attention of the fucking world, right? Think about Tesla, who gets these special like grants from the Chinese government that no other company has ever been able to do to not have like tariffs on their cars, and even more important, to have their solely owned and operated company over there. Because normally, if you have a company in China, this is why it's important. Like this is why people say that like Chinese people steal the technologies because that's how the government set it up so that they could grow their economy faster, right? It's just use everybody else's technology. We won't let them do business in here unless they fucking give it to us. So if you were going to start a company there, you had to split 50-50 with Chinese ownership or something like that. So basically, all the Chinese people are getting taught by all these very successful and super talented like companies, right? All elsewhere around the world who are intelligent enough to figure out how to set up a company in China, right? Had to give away whatever they were doing essentially. So China, for the first time, let Tesla do this, right? And they don't have to pay taxes on some of their tariffs or something like this. So the world has, or Tesla has the world's attention, not just in the U.S. in this microcosm of like reality here, but they have the world's fucking attention. So if I've studied finance for undergrad, for grad school, I have an MBA, my CFA, and these other designations and all this shit, right? And when you talk about the world's attention on something, money, right? Money follows attention. If you've been watching my political videos, you may have heard me say that attention is the currency. And I actually put money already into Tesla. This is my Robinhood portfolio. It's not $8 million. That's actually 8,000. I think you need glasses. So I know you thought it said that, but it really is only 8,000. So I've actually invested in Tesla for the first time this past year, even though I didn't put money in earlier. I wasn't mentally, and this is why I wanted to tie it into the mental piece, because everybody's going through their own path in whatever that they are doing in life, and everybody has their own journey that they take. And for me, even though I saw what was happening, I wasn't mentally, and I wasn't here to start investing, because it has to switch. As soon as you switch to being an investor and putting money away, shit changes. It's just different, right? To realize, like, it's way better to have your money work for you than work for your money. It's just way better that way. So that's what clicked. And in my portfolio, this is the taxable ones. I have 14 shares of Tesla, and it's by far the biggest proportion of my portfolio. It's currently like three. This is probably like 50% ish of my portfolio, or more than probably way more than 50% of the portfolio. But also, if you look up here, I trade Tesla options around the stock, and this is the return over the last year. I'm at 52%, which is kind of interesting, because that's higher than the S&P. So I'll just continue doing this, right? And as soon as my return on here, right, is less than the S&P 500, which I could put into an index. That's a video for another time if you want me to talk about that video. But the idea with that switch happening, that binary click of I'm going to start investing, and that's every single area, because then it proliferates throughout the rest of my life in terms of investing in myself. And I always want to be putting myself in environments where I'm slightly uncomfortable, where I'm slightly like, you're not sure about things, in a sense. Like, you are sure in the macro, but then in the micro, you're not necessarily sure. And so I'm always trying to push myself to learn and grow and do things. And that is actually the mindset that I went into buying this Tesla. We've got the metallic gray here, and this is, I've never bought a new car before. I've never really bought what I've wanted, really. I've bought just what kind of I thought maybe made sense, right? But it's never what I've wanted. And instead of now, where I've had a mental shift of justifying other reasons to not do what I want to do, I decided to do what I wanted to do. And when I look back at my life, I recognize that at any moment where I've made those decisions, like when I moved from Rochester, New York to Hawaii, and I didn't have a job and I had like $5,000, that was an amazing experience, and it forced me to grow as a person. Fucking rode a bicycle for fucking 12 miles to work and 12 miles to home because I didn't have the money to do anything. Like, I rode a bicycle a single speed, and 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 then going from there back to New York, and these moments in time where I take that risk, I consciously make that decision to take that risk, that I perceive to be an obstacle to taking action. And I look at those pivotal moments, and there's been many like that, where I went from Hawaii at a different moment. I moved back to Hawaii again at a different time. It's a completely different situation, but still the same shift. Then from Hawaii to Florida, to go from like $75,000 a year down to working for myself, cutting lawns, right, with my brother. And we did a landscaping company, and I grew that 5x in like 18 months. And then I was like, fuck it. I'm gonna go, and I came back up to I came up to Massachusetts because bank here offered me a job. I was like, yeah, sure, and I just up and moved. And all of these moments in time where I've thought like, is this the right thing? And I just went and I made that decision. I've always looked back and looked at it as I was super grateful and thankful for what I did. There's nothing in my life that I regret. Every single thing that I've had has been like a learning experience. And I know that I'll have the same thing here. So let's talk about the finances a little bit. It's expensive as fuck, bro. It's really not though. It's 58,000. I think this model was the specs out. But like I didn't actually get to pick the specs because I wanted to take delivery, and this is where we're going to talk about the finances. I want to take delivery of the vehicle before the end of 2018 because this, my friends, is going to be a business expense. So how I'm going to do this is actually purchasing the car for my business, and there's an app called Toro, and I'm going to try renting it out on this app so that I can use this as a business expense. I have a 2000 Volvo S40. The transmission mounts have completely gone, so when you pull up to a light, it shakes. The whole vehicle shakes because you're just sitting there idling, and it's in neutral, so the transmission mount just sits on the frame and it shakes the whole entire car or the steering wheel. So I'm going to keep that. I'm going to continue to drive that, and I will try to rent this out with the highest utilization as possible. So I've looked on there, and the rents in the area are somewhere around $150 per day on average, right? And I think that there's other listings that do have reviews and are getting like bookings. So I don't know exactly how much business I'll be able to get from that, but it will at least be a subsidy, which will allow me to say that this is for business, and it will be for business because I'm trying to make money from this. And this YouTube channel, as I've just walked you through, I make videos about Tesla, and I've been making videos about Tesla since 2014. That's going to continue. So this is also for marketing purposes for YouTube, right? Because I'm going to continue to make videos about this. And when I get this car, I already have ideas on videos that I'm going to work on so that I can do this, like with some cool drone shots. Thumbs up for that. Anyways, I appreciate you guys. If you have any questions, let me know down below in the comment section, and I will talk to you soon.